Hey, it's Anne from Winsome Adventures here, taking a quick break from travel videos to bring you a holiday treat. Come join me at the Eleanor Cabot Bradley Estate in Canton, Massachusetts. This is where colonial New England history meets the magic of the holidays at their annual Winter Lights event. We had our tickets ordered online and ready to go because nothing says holiday spirit like being prepared. Tickets for the Winter Lights needs to be ordered ahead of time, so make sure you grab yours at thetrustees.org. I'll also link it in the description. We got there around 4:30 p.m. just as the sky started to dim. It was the perfect time to catch the transition from day to dazzling. Even the walk to the entry was amazing. Rows of twinkling lights lined the path, and as the sun set, the whole scene felt like stepping into a holiday postcard. The Eleanor Cabot Bradley Estate has a history as rich as its stunning architecture and landscape. Back in 1902, it was built as a private retreat for Dr. Arthur Cabot. He hired architect Charles Platt, a master of the colonial revival style, to design the mansion and gardens. Platt's work perfectly blended the house with the natural surroundings. Fast forward to 1945, when the estate was sold to Dr. Albert Bradley and his wife Eleanor. In 1991, the Trustees of Reservations, a nonprofit conservation group, stepped in to take care of the estate, preserving its historic character while making it accessible to the public. So the Trustees is the reason why we have the Winter Lights event. It's also held on various estates that they manage, and it's not just the Bradley estate. And we'll chat more about the Trustees in a bit. Once we got inside the mansion, we were able to roam around a little bit, but only on the first floor. We were able to check out the library a little bit and see how it's so nicely decorated for the season. And we're able to walk through this magnificently decorated dining room with all sorts of little treats that are set up for some imaginary guests. I guess actually it's for us. Or maybe not, because I don't think they're real. No sampling allowed, I guess. Eventually, we made it to what I think is called the wishing room. I don't know what the official name is, but this is where you could write down your wishes and tie them to a tree so that your wishes come true. After checking out the mansion and oohing and eyeing over the decorations, the last stop was a snack bar where we were able to treat ourselves. Snacks included your pretzels, popcorn, cookies, and cider donuts, of course. And the drinks were hot chocolate, hot cider, and other hot beverages where you could add a shot of whiskey or rum. So now we're finally able to explore the trails. Well, it's just one trail, and everything's very clearly marked where you need to go, with signs as well as lights. But what about the Winter Lights event? There's actually a few that's held and organized by the Trustees. There's the Eleanor Cabot Bradley Estate in Canton, Massachusetts, where we are right now. And there's also the Stephen Coolidge House and Gardens in North Andover, Massachusetts as well. It's north of Boston. And then there's Naumkeag, which I think I said it correctly, Naumkeag. It's in the Berkshires in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. It's also a very lovely estate as well. So what are the Trustees? The Trustees is an organization. It started with the preservation of scenic and culturally significant sites in mind, and they have expanded to manage over 120 properties, which includes more than 47,000 acres of land around Massachusetts. Now we're coming to one of the first light tents. I just love this. It's my favorite thing in the world, and I just really like how they set things up. I wish I could have one in my backyard. That would be pretty awesome. And of course, we did take a bunch of pictures here. And now we are heading into the Rainbow Forest. You know, this actually makes me think of Mario Kart and the Rainbow Road. When I first rode that track, I was probably 10 to 12 at that time. It blew my little kid mind, especially when you fell off the edge and like freaked out from it. But yeah, at least here, if you decide to step off the edge, you're not gonna fall off. Alright, and now we are catching up to my nephews. What they're doing right now is they're looking at the lights with these special effects glasses that kind of show snowflakes and candy canes and starbursts. It's pretty neat. You could get it at the beginning of the trail in the Treat Yourself section. As for the Winter Lights event, there's a bunch of photo opportunities that you could take and post to social media or make videos about it like I am right now. I went to the Winter Lights with my family, which includes the two aforementioned nephews. They were just running around and they had a lot of fun. In previous years, I know there were crafts for the kiddies, and there's also a scavenger hunt. At least there was last year. So I'm not sure if we went on an off night or if we went too early or what, or if they just removed the events. There wasn't really too much going on in the Winter Lights that we went this year, other than looking at the lights, which is okay too. So the Winter Light events usually runs for about a month. It starts at the last week of November, usually the weekend after Thanksgiving, and it runs all the way through December, and it ends in the first week of January. Now, I do wish it ran for a little bit longer, maybe until the end of January rather than the beginning of January, only because it usually doesn't snow in December, and it does in January, so I think it would just look a whole lot nicer with snow on the ground. But sometimes we do get lucky with the snow, and we have like a white Winter Lights to walk through. Although we didn't get to see it the time that we went. At this point, we are about a third of the way through. I would say the Winter Lights in general takes about 20 minutes if you walk really fast. But you can kind of stretch it out if you take a little bit more time and enjoy your stay there, take photos, look at every little detail of the estate. Alright, just a little tidbit is to book the earlier sessions if you can. It just makes things easier in terms of not having to deal with crowds, because you don't have the people ahead of you that you have to bump into, I guess. If you go fast enough, the people who are booked in the sessions after you isn't crowding as much, so you would have a lot more free reign in terms of taking pictures without worrying about other people in crowds. So we're getting close to the end now, and this is where we usually see a bottleneck because people are just waiting in line to take their pictures here. That's why I suggest getting the earliest session if you can, because you get to be the bottleneck and they get to wait for you to take pictures. Now we have a final look at the Eleanor Cabot Bradley House in Canton, Massachusetts. It's the back of the house. And then you see some groups that are just starting out before they head out to the trails themselves. Now one of the last stops is Ellie's Tree Farm. Here is when I kind of noticed I made a mistake with filming, and I'm gonna come clean a bit. I used this physical filter on my camera called the Black Mist Filter. It gives the effect of having the light sources look really glowy and misty, hence the name. I realized a little bit too late here. After taking the filter off and seeing what the shot looks like without the filter, it looks way better without it. I didn't realize how bad the previous shots looked. You live and you learn, right? So next time I know not to use this Black Mist filter for evening shots, or to use it sparingly in general because it's probably not doing what I intend it to do. And we have the very last photo op with these gnomes. I might have taken some pictures, just a few, maybe. And the final stop of the Winter Lights is, of course, the gift shop. Because what self-respecting attraction doesn't end with a gift shop nowadays? So the gift shop at the Bradley Estate has your typical Christmas wares. It has your ornaments, it has your Christmas cards, it has other trinkets and local handmade things that you could gift to others or to yourself. I didn't really get anything because at this point I was already done with my Christmas shopping. But my nephews got some toys for themselves because of course they did. And there you have it. That is the Winter Lights event at the Bradley Estate in Canton, Massachusetts. Unfortunately, at the time of the release of this video, the Winter Lights events are now over, but at least you know what to expect for next year for the most part. I got to play around with my brand new camera and my new filter, which I probably shouldn't have used, but I did anyways. But most importantly, I got to hang out with my family and make some really fun memories with them.